Welcome to Voices Beyond the Spectrum. Real stories, brave voices, radiant perspectives. This is the podcast for parents and caregivers of autistic and neurodivergent children and teens. I'm your host, and each week we hold space for honest conversations, shared struggles, and hard-won victories from those who truly live it. You're not alone, your story matters, and it starts here. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to Voices Beyond the Spectrum. I'm your host, Karla Chinen, and today the topic at hand is teens that are autistic and basically preparing them for the next step. Today, I welcome Stephanie Inclan, another mama bear that joins us, and she will basically, I'll turn it over to her so she can talk a little bit about herself, her daughter, and what led to the diagnosis. And then at that point, we'll dive into the topic. So welcome, Stephanie.
Hi, thank you for having me. So, like you said, my name's Stephanie Inclan. I have a 15-year-old daughter. Her name's Lila. She falls under the spectrum autism, also intellectual disorder. She, when she got diagnosed, it was around when she was 6 years old. The school actually brought it to my attention. I actually struggled with her before that, and I always felt like there was something, I don't want to say wrong, but something different. And the school actually brought it to my attention. They ran tests, and then they let me know that she had autism. The intellectual disorder came around middle school. They were the ones that made me aware of it. It was very difficult for me, uh, being that I was young when I had her. So I was 20 years old. I didn't really know much about, I would hear about it, but I never put two and two together that maybe that was something I was going through. But luckily, the school helped me in figuring that out. Along the way, I found the resources that I needed to help my daughter function better and do better in school. But um, oh my God, I got stuck.
It's okay, no worries. And
Got stuck.
how did you process the diagnosis itself? You said it was hard on you. Like, what kind of process did you go through? How long did the process take?
So, for me, I guess I speak for myself coming
Mhm.
from a Mexican family, and I don't know if you can relate, but my family never believed in that stuff. And before Lila got diagnosed, I would always tell like my mom, family, like, I don't know, something's not right, something's not right. Like, my kid can't hate me this much. you know,
Mhm.
she didn't like being hugged. There was just everything that I considered beautiful and nice. It was always turning into a nightmare. Like, I'm a big Disney fan, always have been. And anytime I would take her to Disneyland, it was a nightmare. She would come out crying. I would come out crying. Restaurants was a big no. And, I was always up for like outings and excited, like trying to have that family, going to the park, enjoying the weather, enjoying a nice restaurant, and, just enjoying and showing her like the world. It never worked out good. It always ended up with me crying in the car with her or having to leave family parties because she was overwhelmed, overstimulated. And again, this is before she got diagnosed. So I was having a horrible time, and sad to say. Um, as a first time mother, it was my first experience. And for it to be that way, it's, I painted, I guess I had expectations, thinking like, oh, it's going to be this, it's going to be beautiful. I'm going to take her to Disneyland. I get to, do, what is it, like outings with friends that also have kids and go to parks and stuff. And it never played out like that. It never went that way. So it was pretty heartbreaking, stressful. I got a lot of anxiety out of it. But actually, when she got diagnosed, it was like a form of relief for me. It was like, okay, well, at least I know where it's coming from, or there's a solution to it, or it was just like a fresh breath of air. Like, okay, what do we do from here? Like, what is the next step for this? How can I be better for her? Because clearly, what I thought was good for her or work should work for her because it worked for me as a kid, it wasn't working for her. So after the diagnosis, doing your research, doing your homework, seeing how to take her out of situations that are overstimulated for her, how to get her back to, grounded, it made my life a lot easier afterwards.
And
Right now, she's 15.
mm-hmm,
So it's a transition because I see her struggling right now with wanting to be a teenager and still wanting to hold on to being a kid, and I feel like mentally she is, well, what they told me is that mentally she's 8, she still plays with toys, she likes Hot Wheels, she likes Monster Jams, and it seems like she's kind of embarrassed about it sometimes. And I see her also like her teenage side where she wants to be a teenager and but she still wants to hold on to like the kid stuff. And it's sad, it's sad. Um, I see it struggling with relationships, friend relationships. They're a little bit more on they're 15.
mm-hmm,
And she just wants to feel that way too. She wants to be on that level with him. So it's a roller coaster, a lot of patience. I need a lot of patience because I need to, figure out what is it that she needs all the time. So yeah,
that's a lot.
it's a lot.
And yeah, like you mentioned, from the Hispanic standpoint, um, I think from a woman's standpoint, I think even control wise, I think when I, I was the one that knew that my son was autistic before I took him at 21 months. But even if you know everything you know or don't know anything, it still hits you,
Mhm,
regardless of the matter, because you're still mourning the thought of what you thought you were going to do with that child that ended up not being the case. And I feel like that's something that we don't give ourselves enough empathy and grace to intake to process,
mhm.
and we even sometimes feel guilty for feeling it,
Yes,
and we
that's very
constantly
true.
live in that guilt. But I think as we progress, like for me, I already had an idea of what private school I wanted to send my son to. That didn't happen. And then I have my daughter. And though she is a lot more high functioning, and honestly, I see a lot of myself in her, there's still those, social struggles that you
Hmm.
see. And I mean, to be honest with you, it was a blessing that the school assisted you in finding that diagnosis for your daughter.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times it's very common for girls and later on women to go undiagnosed because the the different quirks that a kiddo and an autistic boy or characteristics that an autistic boy has are very, very different from a girl.
Hmm.
Women can know how to mask a little bit better, but
Yeah.
it's completely, valid. And I can see how overwhelming it could be. I've spoken to other mommies that have also the same type of situation going on where
Hmm.
you see this person in front of you, and I see it with my son because he also has cognitive delay and you see that, and you see their own, like my son, he's taller than me. He looks 16, he's 11,
Hmm.
but acts like a 4-year-old, 5-year-old. And it's so hard to process. But you could also see a part of them, like the teenage kicking in, of
Yeah.
them even feeling embarrassed of who they are. So,
Hmm.
what I've done with my son, and even with my daughter, because I see her too, she likes puppies and things like that. And I'm pretty sure, even though she's going to 10, girls are talking about other stuff at that point already,
Yeah.
and she's like, no, I like my puppies and I like science and I like math. And, you don't move her from there. I've just learned to just embrace it and say, this is you. Don't feel ashamed of who you are. Because I think long term, it can create certain emotions in them where they don't feel accepted by people
Yeah.
and just embracing their uniqueness, and I think that's true inclusivity, I guess,
Yeah.
within us as family. But I can see like I remember one time I took my son to Mexico and they told me, oh, he's just spoiled. You just need
No,
to
yeah.
give him the chancla. for
Yep.
him to
They
be
just need
able
a good
to
beating.
unbeating, for him
Mm-hmm.
to understand. And I was like, no, he's over censored. And I'm sorry, you've never picked up a book and read about this. You're not going to tell me how to raise my son. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, once you read those books, you see that a noise for us that might not be hurting our ears, for them, it's aching their ears.
Yeah.
So you learn how to have empathy towards them and to understand them and better guide them.
Yeah.
But
No, I
with that
definitely
being
agree.
said, now that you're entering those years, have you started like doing some research as to what possible programs will best fit her? Or have you tried to build a community with other moms that have teenage daughters on the similar situation to try to create that,
Yeah.
community for her
Yeah.
and for you?
So luckily, I have really good coworkers. I have one of them that's is getting me more involved with her community. She had a Valentine's dance for special needs kids, and it was so heartwarming. Like I sat there and I'm like, oh my God, like people actually do this. Like they care enough for their kids to give them that that comfort. Like, hey, we can also have a party and you're gonna enjoy it. Like we're gonna have all the things you like. The music, and the music wasn't like they had a full on DJ, but the music was low. Like it was to where it wasn't over stimulating for them, like or if it caused too much like this what is it like the when the noise bothers them too much. Because I know
Overstimulated?
my yeah, like my daughter when we go to like family functions, when the music's blasting, she's nowhere around. It's
Mhm.
too loud, it's too loud. So what I liked about the party is that the music was perfect for them. My daughter did not say nothing. She was actually dancing. It was just
Oh.
overall nice. And it's like, okay, I found people that care just as much because sadly I've came across parents that have special needs kids. And again, back to the Mexican thing, they're Mexican. They come from a Mexican family where their beliefs are exactly like, oh, just give it time, it's gonna go away. He just needs a beating, and they just feel like it's eventually just gonna disappear, So they don't really try to engage or do anything based on what their kid needs or any functions or activities. I didn't never seen them take interest. So to now find people that they've already been down that road. Like my coworker, her son is 30 years old. She's has way more experience than I do. And I found parents there that their kids are already grown. These kids are able to drink alcohol if they like, you know? So just to see their kids just living happy and enjoying life in their own way it gave me like it made me more calm. It made me more like I'm looking forward to the future. Because it for a while it was something that I was scared of for her, but now like it's slowly going away. That fear.
And just know you're not alone in that. That's a big reason why we started same here, like the support group,
Hmm.
because I've been talking to a lot of moms, a lot of dads, and that's the common comment that comes up.
Hmm.
Oh, I just feel like I'm alone. Like there's nothing to really look forward to. Everything is overwhelming. And I feel like with your coworker creating that safe space with accommodations, because our
Hmm.
kids can enjoy and
Yeah.
can be partake. Like my son for my birthday, we did it outside. The music wasn't super loud because we didn't want to annoy the neighbors. Plus, our son, like I didn't want him to feel overwhelmed and I wanted to partake in my party. And we had to swing for him outside. So he would take
Oh,
swim breaks, but then come and
swing.
dance. As soon
Yeah.
as he likes disco music, like he hangs out with
Oh,
my mom
damn.
sometimes, and he got him into disco.
Okay.
So he was dancing his little disco music, but then when he would feel like, okay, I got enough of you guys, let me go back to my
Okay.
swing, he would go back to his swing for a little bit
Oh, that's
longer.
nice.
And I think that's when you really know when family's on board with you. And I know it's hard, especially in our culture sometimes to get that. because, and I feel like it's not sometimes only our culture. I've heard from other people that are different
Oh no,
ethnicity,
yeah, it could
but
be, yeah, and not
it,
to cut you off, but just
mhm,
because I'm remembering some stuff.
mhm,
In family functions, I don't know if it ever happened to you, but it was you would always get those looks from certain people when your kid was acting out, when your kid was acting different, and a lot of the times I wouldn't get invited to certain things because of past experiences that they've had with my kid.
mhm.
And it's sad because
Yeah.
they don't understand, they don't see it, they just all they see is a kid that needs a butt whipping, and it's
Mhm.
like no. That didn't help me as a child, and I didn't have autism, or at least I don't think I do. But, you know,
Yeah.
so it's that closed mentality, with family members and friends, different ethnicities that I experienced, but it's hard. It's hard when you surround yourself around people that don't really understand or don't care to understand. And for me, it's like if you're a family member that really cares about me and my child, you're gonna do your own homework and do your homework. Find out what is it that can help my kid, or how can you make my kid feel more comfortable the next time I go to your house. You know, to
Mhm.
me that matters. And I have two best friends that, for a little bit they didn't understand, but now they do, and now they talk to her different. They actually made her, like some stairs, they have like this little section on the bottom, like a little room. They put a curtain in there. They put like a cushion in there and pillows. And when
Oh,
yeah, and one time we went there and they're like, "Here, Lila, so whenever you feel overstimulated, you can go in there." And it's like that kind of stuff. It just makes me feel a lot better when they get it.
it
So
means the world for us, you
yeah.
know. No one hits us in
Definitely.
the heart like a parent, a friend that reaches out and says, "Hey, what can I do? So I
Mm-hmm.
really want your son to be here or your daughter to be here as well and partake. What can I do to make it accommodating?" You
Yep.
know? And I've let go of friends, to be honest with you. They don't understand what they don't understand. Not to say that it's not okay to educate them at times,
Hmm.
but there comes a point where I feel like you're beating a dead horse,
Yeah.
you
It
know?
just gets
So
old after a while.
after a while, so they're like, yeah, you know what? We're just going separate ways. I
Hmm.
wish you the best. It was great friendship, but we've gone different paths. We're still could be acquaintances and occasionally check up on each other, but for you to ask me if my kid still speaks after you've seen that every time I see you, has he said anything yet?
Oh
But
my gosh.
like I would get that a lot and I'll be like, still processing the diagnosis and constantly hearing what my kid can't do. I already go to IEPs and I already go to assessments to hear that. I don't need my friend to remind me of that. So I completely understand. And then now shifting a little bit on the topic, now that she's a teenager, how do you see yourself transitioning when it comes to, let's say, something as simple as her hygiene, or which for us is not simple. No, no topic is simple for us, but something like a hygiene or her care now as a young lady.
It's been very difficult.
Mhm.
It's very difficult. Um, the I don't know. The only thing I do that it just keeps, it has worked since middle school, because I used to do it for her. And I feel like us as parents, sometimes we get into the routine of doing things for them because I don't know if it's easier, it's faster, especially when you're trying to run out the door. But I caught myself doing a lot of things for her. And I told myself this isn't gonna help you at all. So what I started doing is on the mirrors, I started writing down step by step her hygiene process. Shower, comb your hair, brush your teeth, deodorant. Um, and it's written on the mirror. We just moved here to this new place in April, and I haven't done it, and I haven't done it here. But I've just been really busy. But she takes a shower in my restroom, which is in my room, and I'm constantly like, "Did you put deodorant? Did you brush your teeth?" And it's constant reminder, it's hard, but it doesn't even make me mad anymore because I just been doing it for since she's been, been born. I've been constantly on her about stuff. But what I know helps her is when I do that, when I write down step by step the hygiene process. It gets a little bit trickier with, her being a female and going through, menstrual and stuff. That's the difficult part. I think that's it's reminding her, hey, have you, I don't
Hmm.
want to go
Yeah.
into detail too
Yeah,
much,
yeah.
but
But
it's constantly
yeah.
reminding her of what's the process of that.
Mhm.
You know, she doesn't like wearing pads. It's very uncomfortable. I don't know if it's like the texture of it. I've tried different brands, but I guess it's just the thought of that being there. So, that's the difficult part. Luckily, it's only once a month. But yeah, that's how we deal with that here. I have just constantly reminding her, putting reminders where she sees them.
Okay. Well, that thank you for sharing. I know it's private and I know it's sometimes difficult to speak about that kind of stuff. Um, and now shifting. So you mentioned she has friends, and I take it they're typical friends, friends that are in neurotypicals.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that being said, safety. How how do you deal with the aspects of safety with her and her understanding? And you do have some great friends, but you also have those friends that might be a bit mischievous and might ask her to do certain things that she doesn't know if it's right or wrong to do and might go ahead and do it. How do you have those talks with her, or how do you kind of guide her through that to filter the friendships?
So thankfully, her best friend is on the spectrum as well.
Uh-huh.
And they actually go through the same things. I actually ran into her mom at Ross, and we stood in an aisle for 2 hours talking.
Oh.
She went through and is going through the same thing as me. And she explained to me her troubles that she was going through. So thankfully, my daughter is around a girl that she can relate to and not feel embarrassed for the stuff that happens to her. So as far as like other friends that she has, she does have one that is not a good influence, but I don't know, like I notice when she's going through something personal that she doesn't like to mention or tell me, but I can see it in her. You can tell when your kid's under stress, when something's not right, just the way they are, very irritated, very not wanting to talk. They shut down. She locks herself in the room. She, not locks herself, she closes herself in the room. And, I have to go in there and have a conversation with her. And, being in high school, we can already have an idea of what those things can be. So I'll just have a conversation with her and I'll bring up all the topics that I think it could be. And I tell her, you need to open up to me so I can help you. I was like, I'm the one that's always on your side, 1000%. I don't care what it is, drugs, sex, whatever it may be. I was like, you can tell me all that. And normally it's dumb things. Oh my gosh, that one of her friends created a friend list and she was the third one because she felt she needed to be needed to be the first one. It's just little things like that, and I'm so thankful that they're just simple, like little things like that, that I can help her, guide her, and I talk to her and I give her examples, and Lila, and I don't, and I want to say, autistic kids, period, they see the world as black and white. So for her, like if it's something that she's been taught that's wrong, it's wrong, and she doesn't let nobody like fly with it. Like if her friend is doing something that she knows is wrong, she'll tell her, "Hey, this is wrong because of this, this, and this." Um, does my daughter get easily influenced? Yes, it's happened before. I get those calls from school and it's like, what the heck were you thinking? Well, they made it seem like it was okay. I was like, yeah, well, it's not, you know? Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's things that I probably haven't gone over with her. So it's like if something happens that she gets easily influenced by, it's just probably a topic that we haven't gone over,
Mhm.
or I haven't told her like, hey, this is not okay. I'm also learning as I'm going sometimes. So when these things arise, I'm like, okay, Lila, this was wrong for XYZ, and if this ever happens again, this is how you go about it, So she's learning as well, but does she get easily influenced by people? Yes. Yeah. And she's
Yeah.
very, when it comes to certain people that she trusts, and if they do something to get her in trouble, oh, forget about it. Forget about it. Yeah.
But that, I mean, I think if there is a silver lining or a blessing is that, that as long as you like teach them from right or wrong and they almost stick to those
Yeah.
rules and guidelines, and it's hard for them to be shifted out of that, which is it
Mhm.
can be a blessing.
Yeah.
So
She
with
just, sorry, go ahead.
no, 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 go ahead.
No, it's just like I remember the first incident because when she entered middle school, I told her how middle school was going to be. And that was, I guess one way to answer that is preparing her for how we believe it's going to be. How like we have experience with middle school, we have experience with high school, so we could kind of have an idea of what she might come across, the things she might see. And I don't know if middle school was the same for you, but for me, it was a lot of fights. I know it was always over boys,
Hmm.
So it was just preparing her for that because you don't ever want to send your kid in there without giving them warnings and then be like, Mom, there was violence and I don't want to go back because that was her. Lila is very sensitive to violence. So, me preparing her for what she might experience was very helpful. That's what helped her because she would come to me and be like, Mom, remember you told me that, there was going to be fights and they were going to be dumb. Well, that happened today, Mom. And then after a while, I'm like, hey, Lila, you haven't told me about any fights anymore. She goes, Mom, they happen every day. I'm just tired of announcing it. I'm tired of reporting it. She's like, every day, Mom, you know?
Yeah.
And right now with high school, a lot of kids vape. A lot of kids vape. I don't know how they get their hands on it. I'm assuming big brother, big sister, parents, I don't know. But she goes, Mom, a lot of people vape in the restroom. And I have to, okay, she won't go to the restroom if there's people vaping in the restroom. So she holds it. And that was causing her to have accidents. So one thing was I prepared her for that too. When she went into high school, I was like, look, you're gonna run into people doing drugs. You're gonna run into people talking sexual and for her, she's like, why? She's so confused. Why do people do that and this and that? And I was like, I don't know, mommy. It's just that's what you're gonna experience in high school. You're gonna come across it at one point. How you choose to deal with that, it's on you, but I'm letting you know, like and you give her advice, you tell her what you expect from her, and that has helped too. Yeah.
I think that's amazing on your behalf, to stay very open-minded of everything that happens. I'm the same way with Sophia. Very open-minded. Hey, this is how it's gonna be. This is what you're gonna experience. This is how you can go about it. If you don't want to deal with that, this is how you can go about it. If you don't want to deal with that, and just being very transparent with her. I think they really appreciate that honesty and it
Mhm.
keeps that bond with you and your daughter, so that it's very good that you approach it that way. Um, as she gets older, have you already done research on if you want to do a conservatorship on her or just possibly just see how things go and have supportive assistance with her through, let's say, inland regional center services? Have you given it any thought yet, or you're just trying to get through teenage years?
Well, the conservatorship, yes, I do want to do that, but personal reasons why. But it's something that I am going to start looking into. I believe, from what my coworker had told me, she says it's something that I should start when she turns 18.
It's it
It's
it it happens when you turn 18, but the process itself, I believe it can start at 17
oh
because
17.
it's a
Okay.
good amount of paperwork that needs to be filled.
Yeah.
And there's different types of conservatorships. So maybe either, I know there's a few centers that offer specific information, but you usually want to resource a lawyer so they
Hmm.
can go through the different types of conservatorships so they can explain exactly what each one would basically assist
Yeah.
best your daughter's needs. So Lila's needs. So yeah, I mean, so that is something I'm considering that as well with my son, even though he's 11. He is on the more severe aspect. With my daughter, I won't go that route, but with my son, it's looking like we're probably gonna end up going that route as well
Yeah. Okay.
due to
Yeah.
his needs, you know?
Yeah. Same
So,
here.
what resources do you feel have helped you the most throughout this process? And now that you're entering, or she's already in these teenage years, that you feel will help her through adulthood.
But right now, I believe the regional center has helped me a lot. Her social worker, Jose, he's great. He's been with us since the beginning. He's always constantly sending me resources, meetings, stuff that it can help me right now with her transitioning. Also, well, you said not to mention
No names if possible,
no
yeah.
names, but there is this program that is helping her with social skills. Because
Awesome.
yeah, I believe she struggles with that a lot, and that's what causes her anxiety. Um, it causes her to have like meltdowns because she notices that when people start acting weird around her, when people don't want to interact with her, it affects her a lot, and it causes her to have the meltdowns. So, yeah.
How have you processed that, the meltdowns? Because I know as a kid having a meltdown, it seemed almost like a tantrum, but it's manageable because of the size. And it's easy to be redirected back to the car, inside the house. How is it for you now that she's a teenager at 15? Because I want to know that information because my kid is 11 and I'm like struggling in that department.
It's scary because she's taller, she's bigger. It's she's a whole adult size. So it's scary because she's strong too. She's very strong. So for me to hold her back, like for instance, the last incident, and this one scared the crap out of me. We went. She wanted to try out Santa Monica Pier. So she has things that she wants to do. She tells me, "Hey, mom, I want to try this, I want to try that," right? So I let her pick and choose, when she's ready for something like that. And we went to Santa Monica Pier because she said she was ready for it, so we went. And when we got there, the pier where you walk into the where it's close to the water. We went there and it was fine. We were fine. I was like, okay, cool. I, kept looking at her, kept looking at her, and I was like, okay, she's fine, she's fine. And then I asked her, like, where do you want to eat? And she's like, oh, I want sushi. I was like, okay, let's go get sushi then. So then we start walking to the first place we get that we see, and I was like, okay, this one's close by, let's go. And after that, I saw her demeanor just change, and I'm like, oh no. And I started panicking, like it's that sudden panic. I was like, oh my God, please don't do it to me here because the car's like 12 minutes away walking. And, I was already like, everything was closing in on me. So then we get to the restaurant and I'm talking to her and I'm trying to like distract her. And there's people on scooters just passing by and I'm moving her. And I was like, oh my God, this was a horrible idea. So then we get to the restaurant and they tell us, oh, the line's right here. Just give us a moment. It's going to be about a 20-minute wait. I was like, oh my God, I don't got 20 minutes. And I was talking to the guy, and luckily my boyfriend at the time was with us. So he was with her. And I'm talking to the guy and I was like, you think there's a chance we can wait inside? I feel like my daughter's getting overstimulated and I don't want her to have a breakdown here. So as I'm talking to the guy, I just hear my boyfriend, Lila, no. And I just turn around and she's like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. And she steps into the street, like literally steps into the street, like backwards. And she was already getting ready to turn to take off into the street, not seeing the cars, totally blind. Like, what I noticed that when she gets like that, it's like, she has no sense, like it's just her, it's her world, like nothing, not she can't hear nothing because I was talking to her and she was just crying and I want to leave, I want to leave, I want to leave, and it's like, come here, look at me, look, no, I want to leave, I want to leave, and it's like, oh my God. And my boyfriend luckily like had her, was holding her, and I was like in the back, and honestly, I kept going and I didn't know where to stand. I don't know if I should be in the front, in the back. Like, I didn't know. I was just like, we're far from the car.
Oh.
And then my boyfriend at the time was like, should I go run and get the car? I was like, no, don't leave me here by myself. I was like, I can't with her. I won't be able to hold her down. It's like, you need to stay with me. And like at some point when we broke like away from the crowd and it was open, like we were both able to like side to side, of her. But it's just moments like that that are scary because now she's older, she's bigger, and me now. Well, I've been a single mom for uh, years. I had my boyfriend that was helping me at that time, but now I'm single again, so I'm having to be out on my own with her alone, and that scares me. That scares me. So it's,
So
I don't think that fear, that fear ever goes away.
that's a way.
Because it just happens suddenly. It doesn't, there's no warning, there's no nothing. You see it change in them like really quick.
Yeah, that volatile. Since yeah, I know I see it in Adrian. His eyes, I always say it's like he snaps. Like you could see he goes away. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's there, but then he goes away and you could see
Yeah.
his their eyes almost glazing. And
Yes,
then you're like,
glazing.
oh heck
Yeah.
no. And
Like,
then like I
so snap out of it.
that's what you're
I
like,
come back
come on,
to
let's go
her.
over here. And then
Yeah.
he'll start like reciting in the echolalia that he has as a stimming mechanism. And I'm like, oh no, this is bad. And you like you start getting nervous because you already know what's coming. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like you can stay calm and
Yeah.
you know, and oh man, yeah, I definitely see you. I see
Yeah.
you in that aspect. But have you tried maybe utilizing like respite and trying to find, I know there's now certain companies, respite companies that do offer for those kiddos that are a little bit more either aggressive or more of the elopers.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not respite, but social companions with Inland Regional Center. I know there's some that can do the social companionship or the
Social
even certain.
companionship.
Mhm.
Who would, is there somebody that comes to the house and
No, that's respite. The respite person can leave your house and they
okay.
have to care for them there. And even if you don't feel comfortable per se leaving, you could clean that house while someone keeps an eye out. Because
Oh
with
yeah,
our
yeah.
kids, you have
Yeah, my
24.
sister's my respite. Thankfully,
Yeah,
she helps me
my
out a lot.
mama's mine.
Yeah, no, because Lila will
No.
not have anybody else do it. Yeah.
No, so for social, there's social recreation hours that or recreational things that they Inland Regional Center can pay if your child qualifies, where you could, let's say, take her to if she wants I've even seen it getting paid for something like mulligans or like an outdoor golfing, miniature golfing session. Anything that's social, you
Yeah.
can request that. It starts at $100, but it could go up depending on what activities. If you want her to go into dance or horseback or things like that, you pay it up front and then they reimburse you
Oh
for
wow, I
that
didn't know that.
activity. And they can actually also set up a person to go with them to be able to do those social activities so they could get that social exposure. You just have to
Oh.
run it through your Inland Regional Center person, and then
Mm-hmm.
they'll be able to submit it to their manager to see if you get approved for it. And they'll tell you what you need in order for you to just have like an activity in mind. Say, hey, I want my kid to do swimming lessons.
Yeah.
And you pay for those swimming lessons up front, and then they'll approve it, and then they'll reimburse you through an online system.
I did not
And
know that. That right
yeah.
now, what she's into is volleyball. She carries that ball
Oh.
with her everywhere. She she I don't know where it came from, but it started high school. That her and her friends, and she wants me to drop her off early. She goes, me and my friends, we play volleyball before school and
Oh,
lunch.
that's
So I'm
awesome.
like, get into volleyball, but you know how that is, being with advanced kids and stuff. It's She goes, no, I'm not that good, and I've already seen them play, they're good, and I'm not. And I'm like, well, how do you think they get there? They practice. So now, since La Señorita is gonna be in summer school, not summer school, on summer vacation, I'm taking her out. We're gonna learn. I bought a net. I bought a
Oh,
full-blown
that's
net.
awesome.
We're doing it. And she rolls her eyes. Oh my God, but you're not good. And I'm like, excuse me, ma'am, I played volleyball in high school. Just to let you know. I played. So yeah, I'm gonna
Oh,
get her there. I'm hoping she can join the team,
that's awesome.
with confidence, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And maybe you could research if there's like a volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know they have for sure like a soccer, baseball, those kind, but who knows? Maybe if you go online, they might have like a volleyball summer team
Yeah.
where you can enroll her, you can pay up front, and then they'll refund you for that. And then you can also have someone tell them that if you can have social companion, and then they'll go in social settings with them. So
Oh,
because
okay.
respite is just at home, but that one is for them to tag along.
You know what? I actually ran into a organization at one of the resource fairs that we were at. Um, Actually, I have the flyer. They have almost all the sports. Even what was it? No, they gave me a flyer with all the sports they offer for kids with special needs.
That's
Like,
awesome.
and I don't want to say it was just the summer. I think it was like an all year long thing. And I remember my coworker giving it to me. He's like, "Here, so your daughter can play volleyball," and it was actually on that list. I need to look for
Uh,
it. You know,
Yeah.
they always in resource fairs they give you bags and
Bags
stuff,
and
and you
big.
have all. Oh my God, if you can see my closet, it's full of all that stuff. So I have to dig through there and find it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was an organization that was there, and
Yeah,
they
that's
had all that to
awesome.
offer. So gonna look into that, see if there's
Yeah.
something.
So see, there you go.
Yeah.
A little extra, and then if you can get it paid for, I know it helps. A
Yeah.
little bit helps. So, well, to kind of seal this wonderful meeting, what's one thing, and I always ask this for all my mamas and dads to share, what's one thing you wish you would have told yourself, or that you could tell a mom or a dad that are barely starting as a tip or some words of wisdom?
Mm, I'd say pay attention to, no, it's, and I speak for myself. I would say pay attention, pay more attention. I know we get caught up in our own lives, as adults. We have work. And for me, I'm a single mom, so I kind of have to pull the load on my own. And her dad's absent, so I kind of have to play both roles. So I catch myself kind of not noticing certain things. And it was also when she was a child, when she was little. I wish I would have paid attention more. What overstimulated her, what caused her to have meltdowns. Um, just pay attention, do your homework, and advocate for your kid, because I feel like I did that too late. And again, this is coming from somebody who got pregnant very young. And I had I experienced my first kid as a kid in the spectrum, which is kind of rough. It's my first time being a parent, and that's what I had to go through. But I'm thankful. I feel like I'm gonna have a kid for life with my daughter. You know, but yeah, just if all it takes is for you to pay attention and just do what you need to do for your kid.
Definitely. Well, I'd like to thank you, Stephanie, again for taking the time. I know it's, Sunday fun day. You don't want to be, you know, um, doing
I don't
appointments today,
call
but I
washing
do.
clothes and cleaning fun, but
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
Same here. I got to do all that today too. But thank you very much for taking the time, and I appreciate you, Stephanie. And thank you, everyone out there. Again, I appreciate you guys coming and listening to the podcast. Please follow, and that way we could continue doing the opening up this space for other parents to share their stories. If you want to share your story, feel free to email me or reach me through the website. I'll be happy to book you. And thank you again, Stephanie. And thank you, everyone. And we hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday. Thank you. Have a great one.
Karla, take care.
Thanks for listening to Voices Beyond the Spectrum, brought to you by Empathy for Autism California, Inc. A big thank you to Stephanie Inclan, a fellow mom on this journey, for joining us and sharing her story. Original music by Brad Kalouv, piano by Sophia Chinen and Brad Kalouv, hosted by Karla Chinen. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Podbean. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, or visit www.empathyforautismcalifornia.com. Every story matters, every voice counts. Thanks for being here.